Hey, Don here. As you can see, I have no guitar in my hands right now, but that's the whole purpose of this video. I'm going to show you a very easy and effective practice method that will not only maintain but also improve your left hand technique. All this without an instrument in your hands, so it's very useful when you're on vacation or away from your instrument for any reason. I've had great success with this technique myself. I've even improved my left hand technique while coming back from a 2-week vacation, and that actually surprised me. But it also made me a big believer in actually putting in the work even without an instrument. I've shown this method to several students of mine that travel a lot. Each and every student that tried this reported back that it felt much better when they came back to the guitar. They didn't have that same startup period when they've been away for a week or two. Some students who actually put in some extra work during the vacation felt that their left hand had improved during their time away, which I think is quite a significant thing. Guthrie Super Virtuoso Govan talks about this in one of his books. He mentions sitting at a bus stop and just doing the 24 finger combinations. And I mean, I can't give a better example than that because his left hand is just out of this world. So how do we do this then? I'm going to show you the exact routine that I use when I'm away from my instrument. So simply place your hand like this on your forearm and just find a comfortable placement so it mimics the way that it feels for you when you play guitar. So that's step number one, and then we're going to go through this series of exercises. And these series of exercises will be divided into 2 fingers at a time, 3 fingers at a time, and then 4 fingers at a time. I don't want you to just flop around with your fingers like this. You want to maintain a really good and solid technique, so it has to be as similar as possible to the way that you play your instrument. And you really want to focus on the timing here and the relaxation and the movement of the fingers. But it's going to be easier to do that now because you don't have to worry about ringing strings or anything like that. You can actually focus on the timing and the feel as you play. And I think that's the key to the improvement here, while it translates so well to the guitar. With the risk of being Captain Obvious here, when we play, it's the brain that sends the signals to our fingers, and the stronger that signal is, the easier it's going to be to execute what you want to execute. So the brain to finger signal is not going to be reliant upon you holding your guitar. It's no difference for the brain if you do this or if you actually hold your instrument. As you're going to find out, you're also going to get tactile feedback from feeling the fingertips on your forearm, which will enable you to really feel the timing or lack of timing in your left hand, so you can correct that. Another thing that's huge here is that this practice technique actually mimics one of the most effective practice techniques for your left hand on the guitar, which is all hammers. I go more into depth into the all hammers technique on the guitar in my left hand problems video. I'm going to link that down in the description as well. Ideally, when you practice this, you want to use a metronome. And whether you practice with a metronome or not, you need to make sure that your foot is always firmly on the downbeat. So that's a very important thing. Another crucial thing here is to actually count the subdivision. But don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how you can count it. We're going to start with 2 fingers at a time, and for these 4 fingers we can divide them into 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. So 6 different pairs. The basic idea here is that we're going to move from pair to pair, and we're going to do it in this order: 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and then 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. And we're not just going to do it like that, we're going to apply a subdivision to this. And a subdivision is basically just how many notes you play per downbeat. And in this case, we're going to do triplets. And the way that you count that is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So, step 1 here then is to turn on a metronome ideally, put your foot firmly on the beat, and then you simply count while you play the first combination like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you want to do 1 bar per finger. So once you've done the first finger pair, you go straight into 1, 3. When it comes to the movement of the fingers here, just make sure that you mimic the all hammers method. And what that means is that you should all have 1 finger down at a time. But as you get the second finger down here, you need to get the first finger up without ever having both fingers in the air at the same time. Because if you do that on the guitar, you're going to get an open string. But if you're too late lifting the second finger as the first finger goes down, for example, you're not going to get a sound on the guitar. So you want to make sure that you treat this exactly like walking. And obviously when you're walking, you only have 1 foot down at a time. So simply make sure that you get the technique right when you do this, and you will get all the benefits of this exercise. So the first exercise then is going to be going from pair to pair, and you're going to do that 1 bar at a time with triplets. So you're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you do the remaining combinations. Once you get to 3, 4 here, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the, you want to go back to the first combination, but instead of starting on the first finger, you're going to start on the second finger. So basically, you're going to start on the higher numbered finger for each combination. So you're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. And I make quite big movements now, just so you can see what fingering I'm using. But when you do this yourself, you don't need to exaggerate the movements. You just want to make sure that you can feel the actual tap here on your forearm, because that's what's going to gauge your timing as well. For the next exercise, we're going to use 3 fingers at a time, and now we get 4 different combinations: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. I have all of this written out on my Teachable site, and you have a link in the description below for this as well. For the first 3 finger exercise, we're just going to do this ascending pattern. So basically 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, and so on. But we're going to apply an even numbered subdivisions. We're going to do a group of 4 here, so basically 16th notes. You can just count 1, 2, 3, 4 for this one, because you're going to keep track of where your accent lies. So basically where the 1 is going to fall. So if you look at this, you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the accent's going to move from this finger to this finger to this finger. And once you've done one loop of that, you go to the next combination. So it's going to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you continue that with 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3, 4. And as with the first exercise, you don't want to stop here. Just turn it around as before. So you go 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 2. But you do the same thing. You're going to repeat it 3 times. So if I do 3, 2, 1 like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As before, I'm exaggerating here, so you don't start doing that. You want to keep the technique exactly the same way you would do it on the guitar with all hammer-ons. That was the first exercise for the 3 finger combinations. Now we're going to apply a different pattern. So instead of going just forward or backwards, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 2. So basically a loop here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. In this one, we're going to go back to the 8th note triplets again, so 3 notes per beat. So what happens then is the accent's going to move, but now it's going to basically move from the last note of the pattern and then travel back to the first note of the pattern. So basically going to go like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So do that a few times, maybe even doing it the way that I did it here, so you can see how this whole thing sort of goes around this way instead in terms of where the accent falls. So you get used to that. And then you just apply it to your forearm again. So you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and so on. It turns out that it takes 4 reps to get around the whole thing, because we have 4 notes in the pattern. So basically 1 bar of triplets. For our last set of exercises, we're going to use all 4 fingers. We're going to use the classic 24 finger combinations. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you have all those combinations in the description below as well. So for this one, basically you start here with 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our first combination. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one I just use a 16th note subdivision or 8th note, anything even, and then I do 4 reps for each of these combinations. So you do the first one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go to the second one, which is 1, 2, 4, 3. So 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3. Then 1, 3, 2, 4. And so on. And the basic groupings of all these combinations is you get 6 different combinations starting with the index finger, you get 6 starting from the second, third and fourth. 6 times 4 is 24, so that's where you get all the 24 finger combinations. The way that I practice this myself, besides following all the steps that I showed you when it comes to keeping the subdivision really clear by counting it, and also keeping your foot on the downbeat at all times, and ideally using a metronome, and also making sure that the movement in the left hand is correct. I would do all these exercises just in a row. Of course, you could pause in between exercises, but I would do them all in a row, and then however long that took, I would maybe do it again or simply repeat any of the exercise combinations that I felt were more difficult. What I mean by that is basically repeating the 2-finger ones, the 3-finger ones, or the 4-finger ones. Whatever I thought was the most challenging that day, I would do that more, and then I would repeat the whole thing a few times per day. But remember, this was done during vacation, so depending on what your schedule looks like when you're away from your instrument, it might look completely different. But I would at least shoot for getting through these combinations, ideally 3 times per day, to really get a benefit when you're away from your guitar. So what I want you to do is, for the next 7 days, before you pick up the guitar that day, try this out. So basically go through the entire routine, so the 2-finger exercises, 3-finger and the 4-finger, before you pick up your instrument. And I think you'll feel that it actually warms your left hand up really good, even though you're not even touching the guitar. And I want you to do this so I can convince you that this actually works. So when you go on vacation the next time, you will actually take this seriously and put in the work, because that's the only way this is going to help you. So let me know in the comments if you felt this was beneficial, if you have any questions of any kind regarding this thing, especially when you've done this for a few days. Let me know your experience, if you think it's just crap and doesn't work at all for you, or if you actually felt some benefit. So good luck with this one, and see you in the next one.